Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, lightning crashing, winds howling, and the world tearing itself apart around you. You scream for help, desperate for someone to hear you. But all you're met with is silence. The kind of silence that echoes in your bones, not because it's quiet, but because it's empty. Empty of care, empty of support, empty of anyone willing to fight by your side. If you've been there, feeling like you're battling chaos alone, then this story, this fight, is yours. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you realize you're truly alone. Not the I want to be left alone kind of solitude. No, this is a darker kind, when you're abandoned, left behind, discarded by the people you thought would have your back. At first, it crushes you. That silence of support, of knowing no one is coming, is deafening. You replay the conversations, the promises, the moments where they said, "I'll always be there for you." But now, when you look around, all you see are shadows walking away. It's easy to sink into bitterness, to scream at the heavens and demand answers. Why me? Why now? Why did everyone leave? But the truth, the harsh truth, is that no one owes you anything. Not their loyalty, not their time, not their love. When you fight alone, you carry the weight of every battle on your shoulders. There's no one to help pick up the pieces when you fall. No one to lend a hand when the burden feels too heavy. You wake up every morning knowing it's you against the chaos of the world. And it's exhausting. And most importantly, it teaches you how to fight. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. It shows you that the greatest battles are not the ones waged against others, but the ones fought within yourself, against your own fears, doubts, and weaknesses. Let's be real. The world isn't fair. It's chaotic, unpredictable, and unforgiving. People betray you. Promises are broken. Support vanishes when you need it most. But here's the twist. The chaos of the world can't destroy you unless you let it. The real battle isn't out there. It's in you. It's in how you choose to respond to the silence. Do you let it consume you, or do you rise above it? And rising doesn't mean pretending the pain doesn't exist. It doesn't mean putting on a brave face and acting like everything's fine. It means acknowledging the hurt, the betrayal, the loneliness, and using it as fuel. When you fight alone, you learn the value of becoming your own ally. You stop waiting for someone to save you, and instead, you save yourself. You stop searching for validation in others and find it within. And yes, it's hard. Damn hard. There will be days when the silence feels like it's crushing you, when you wonder if it's all worth it. But those are the days that define you. Because every time you get back up, every time you push forward despite the pain, you're proving to yourself and to the world that you don't need their support to survive. It's impossible to fight alone without carrying scars. The pain of betrayal leaves marks that never fully fade. But those scars, they're proof. Proof that you survived what others couldn't. Proof that you're still standing, even when the odds were stacked against you. And here's the beautiful, twisted irony. The people who left you behind, who doubted you, who betrayed you, they'll be the ones watching in awe when you rise. Not that it's about proving them wrong. No, this journey isn't for them. It's for you. But there's a quiet satisfaction in knowing that the silence they left behind became the foundation of your strength. Fighting alone isn't just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about becoming someone who doesn't just endure the chaos but thrives in it. Someone who doesn't just walk through the storm but becomes the storm. When you stop depending on others to fight for you, you discover a power you never knew you had. A power that doesn't waver when the world turns against you. A power that isn't diminished by the silence of support. Because in the end, the silence doesn't define you. You define you. So here's the question. What will you do with the silence? Will you let it break you, or will you use it to build yourself into someone unbreakable? It's not an easy choice, but it's the only one that matters. Because no one's coming to fight for you. No one's coming to save you. But you don't need them to. You've got this. You've always had this. It's just taken the silence to show you. When they left, it didn't just hurt. It hollowed you out. The betrayal, the silence, the way they acted like you were nothing more than a burden, an afterthought. It wasn't just painful, it was paralyzing. At first, you replayed their words, their excuses, their silence. You tried to find a reason, a justification for why the people you leaned on abandoned you when you needed them most. Maybe they had their reasons. Maybe they were fighting battles of their own. But as time passed, you realized something else. Their reasons didn't matter. Their absence did. When you fight alone, you don't have the luxury of excuses. You don't get to blame anyone else for your failures. That's the raw, unfiltered reality of standing on your own 2 feet. And that's where the fire begins, because the pain doesn't stay as pain forever. Slowly, it transforms. It turns into anger, sharp, burning, and undeniable. And that anger, it's not your enemy. It's your fuel. Anger has a way of consuming people. It's wild, destructive, and chaotic, much like the world itself. But what most people don't understand is that anger, when controlled, is one of the most powerful tools you'll ever have. You see, anger doesn't just destroy. It builds. It drives. It fuels the parts of you that refuse to give up. But controlling it, that's the real challenge. Because it's easy to lash out, to let the fire burn unchecked, to let your anger hurt the wrong people, or worse, yourself. But when you learn to harness it, to focus it, to let it sharpen you instead of destroy you, that's when you become unstoppable. When the silence of support cuts you to your core, let the anger remind you of what you're capable of. Let it remind you that you don't need them, that you never did. Fighting alone isn't a lesson you ask for. It's one the world forces on you. But it's in the darkness, in the moments when you feel like you can't go on, that you find your true strength. It's in those nights when sleep won't come because your mind is replaying every failure, every mistake, every loss. It's in those mornings when the weight of the day feels unbearable, but you rise anyway. It's in those moments when quitting feels like the only option, but something deep inside you refuses to stop. The darkness is cruel, yes, but it's honest. It strips away the lies we tell ourselves, the illusions we cling to, and forces us to face the truth of who we are. And who are you? You are the person who keeps going, no matter how heavy the burden, no matter how loud the silence. The hardest part of fighting alone isn't the battles against the world. It's the battles against yourself. The whispers of doubt that creep in when no one is there to reassure you. The voice in your head that says, you're not strong enough, you're not good enough, you'll never make it. That voice, it's the most dangerous enemy you'll ever face. Because it knows you. It knows your fears, your weaknesses, your insecurities. It knows exactly where to strike to make you question everything. But here's the thing. That voice isn't the truth. It's a reflection of your fears, not your reality. And the way you silence it isn't by ignoring it. It's by confronting it head on. You remind yourself of the battles you've already fought and won. You remind yourself of the strength it took to get through the darkest nights. You remind yourself that you faced worse, and you're still here. When you're alone, you learn to rely on yourself in ways you never thought possible. You stop waiting for someone else to fix things, to save you, to make the pain go away. You become resourceful. You figure things out because you have to. You make decisions without second guessing because there's no one to validate them for you. And over time, you realize something incredible. You're capable of more than you ever imagined. That independence, that self-reliance, isn't just a survival mechanism. It's a superpower. It's the thing that separates you from those who crumble when support is taken away. Because when you've built your strength in solitude, there's nothing the world can throw at you that you can't handle. There's a kind of determination that comes from knowing you're all you have. It's not the loud, flashy kind. It's quiet, unyielding, and unstoppable. It's the resolve to keep going, even when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stop. It's the refusal to let the silence win, to let the lack of support define you. And that resolve, it's what makes you dangerous. Because the world underestimates those who fight alone. They see the struggle, the pain, the loneliness, and they assume it makes you weaker. But they're wrong. It's the struggle that makes you stronger. It's the pain that sharpens your edges. It's the loneliness that teaches you to stand tall, even when the ground beneath you shakes. As you move forward, you'll notice something remarkable. The chaos that once threatened to overwhelm you no longer holds the same power. The silence that once felt deafening now feels like peace. The loneliness that once felt suffocating now feels like freedom. Because you've built a foundation that no one can shake. A future designed not by the opinions or support of others, but by your own will, determination, and vision. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not to those who left, not to those who doubted, and certainly not to those who stayed silent. Your existence, your persistence, your success, that is proof enough. One day, the battles you're fighting now will be stories you tell. Stories of resilience, of strength, of refusing to give up when the odds were stacked against you. And those stories? They won't be about the people who left you, the ones who stayed silent, the ones who didn't care. They'll be about you. Because in the end, the silence of support doesn't define your story. You do. The chaos of the world doesn't determine your worth. You do. The battles you fight alone aren't a testament to your isolation. They're proof of your power. So fight. Fight like hell. Because the world may never understand what it took for you to stand, to rise, to endure. But you'll know. And that's enough. The world will always be chaotic. People will come and go. Promises will be made and broken. Support will rise and fall. But through it all, one thing remains constant. You. You are your own ally, your own champion, your own savior. And that's not just enough, it's everything. So fight. Fight for yourself. Fight against the chaos. Fight through the silence. Because when the world sees the strength you've built in the absence of support, they'll realize they were wrong to leave you behind. And you'll realize you never needed them to begin with. That's all. I'm out. By the way, if you want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.